ashes burn in the still the night. It's our turn.
Like a star, you can't stop my shine. I'm loving Cow City, my head is in the sky. I'm solo, I'm running solo, I'm running solo, I'm running solo.
What's up, Star Wars Unlimited fans? It's Loopy here at Late Night Gaming, and we are here for the second masterclass in Only Han's Week. And we have the darling of Hero Blue Red, Han Blue. And we're joined by three friends and playtesters that kind of brought this deck into existence and the success. And every one of you is a masterclass alumni. So welcome to set 2, boys.
Ooh.
All right, so first we have SINatra. You actually ran this and got your mat on the first day Gencon?
Correct. Yep, I took 7th, went 6-1.
All right. And you describe yourself as kind of a natural control player, usually in tendencies.
Yeah, I gravitate definitely more towards control or like very high value things. And we'll talk a bit more like how this came to be after.
And then Tibbits, who's a man of my own heart from the Chirrut Masterclass. How you doing again?
Love me some good old Chirrut. I wish he was still good set 2, but...
Right. And I actually invited you to this before you had, done well in Chattanooga. But how did your tournament last weekend go? Week after Gencon?
It was yesterday for me, but when you upload this, it'll be a little bit later. But so I get 6-0. I was the only undefeated after Swiss, and then it was cut to top 4, and then it was 3 friends, so we split. But I might have been but I was the only undefeated, so.
All right.
And it was no slouches either.
And then we have Frank, who is a local legend for Star Wars Unlimited, and we got to meet for the first time in Gen Con. I really enjoyed meeting you.
Local, you mean global legend. Don't say local legend. Yeah.
Galactic legend. I mean,
don't sell me
Galactic legend.
But Frank, you ran Han Blue the last day of Gen Con?
Yeah, well, I didn't have a first day ticket because Courtney and I just wanted to enjoy Gen Con on Thursday. Ran it Friday, the 4 and 3. I lost 2 close game 3s and learned a lot. Fixed the deck, and then came back on Saturday with a vengeance and went 6-1. So happy with it. 4th. I got my gorgeous playmat. Name is SINatra.
All right. Well, shout out to all you guys. This deck is certainly the talk of a lot of places. It's a very interesting spin on what I would call a hero value, deck. And I see, and I know that, on your Discord too, all of you have BN in brackets. And if you caught the Han Yellow Masterclass, we had Ian there from your testing group. But what does the BN stand for?
So Boston Network kind of grew out of all the way back to the Orlando 5K. Some of the alumni from your masterclass videos actually started testing together online, TTS, and we were all in a text message group at first. And then George the Hulk was like, let's just make a server. There's just 4 of us. I think Michael Carlock and Phil, the Luke player from your masterclass. And we just started adding great players along the way to test with, and we were slamming games every day for hours, and it's been great. Boston Network is what we kind of came up with a nickname for ourselves, and I guess we have about 10 to 12 serious kind of high-level players that are on our testing team. 6 of us went to Gen Con, and all 6 of us came away with playmats. So that's pretty good. Yesterday at a Tibbits tournament in Chattanooga, there was a top 4 cut for that 40 person, and 3 of the 4 were on our team. So I thought those were good. We had 3 good results. Yeah.
Yep. So, I mean, I think that testing as a team is certainly important, and kudos to you guys. Is the Discord server open to the public?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Come on.
And
we have a public. We don't do like the forums and everything. I mean, there's some great places online. Late Night Gaming is amazing. The Star Wars Unlimited channel, I know, Tibbits, you spend a lot of time in there talking to people. I spend a lot of time. I love KTOD and all those guys, and I spend a lot of time there. It's not really a forums that we have. We won't. It's like come in, join our voice channel, look for us playing, play with us. It's more like that. It's not really like a. It's not like a paywall or anything. We're just kind of hanging out, looking for people to test with and play games with. If that's what you're looking for, come hang out with us. Yeah.
Yep. And you can hit the Discord invite in the comments of this video. So if you're interested in hanging out with these fellers and doing some innovative Star Wars Unlimited stuff.
Just know many have died to bring you that.
Many Bothans have died
Yes.
to make this masterclass video.
And Ian mentions what's the name, the meaning of the name from Star Wars for people who
Bothan spies in Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. There's an offhand comment about many Bothan spies died to get these Death Star plans, and it's a race, I think, in the lore. It's never been on screen, but anyways, we just like that because we're kind of subtle, we're kind of low key, we're not like in your face. And we also come from a lot of different parts of the Star Wars community. And so like it feels more like a network. Even like, I mean, we have a lot of different content creators, like Kodamaran is part of us, and so is Ryan from Rebel Resource. So it's a network. It really isn't just like we're one thing. We really are trying to be part of the whole Star Wars community, building everybody up, man. We love everybody doing this game. We love it. Let's go, everybody. Come on.
I commend anybody building the community. All right. So, I mean, I think everybody kind of points to you two guys, Sin and Tibbits, for how this deck came to be. Tell me the story. Tell me the story of, you guys call it Hey Kid?
Mm-hmm. Hey Kid came from Emily.
Yeah, one of our teammates, Emily, she came up with the name.
She shot off like 200 names. and we knocked them down, and we were like, Hey Kid's nice, short, and sweet. So
yeah,
and it's kind of an kind of Klein. So
and it's one of his like phrases.
Yeah.
So it just fits.
Right. Tell me about how you started getting towards this deck as you were getting ready for Gencon. I mean, and the early tournaments and stuff too.
A month ago, 2 months ago, probably now. Yeah.
Put a lot of work into it. I mean, I didn't have a testing group, and then SINatra was like, "Hey, man, I think Blue Han2 would be really good, but I don't know how to build it. Well, I need your help." And I was like, okay. We shot around some ideas and tested it, and like I literally took the Chirrut shell of the deck and just slapped Blue Han, just the leader in base, and like I tried the 25 HP. I mean, it did some stuff, but it was like I didn't have Poe in there or Kraid or any. It was just like Chirrut, but then but it just had like the force users package in it, and then he added some of the control 2-for-1 aspects and removal spells, and we just kept bumping heads and tweaking numbers and what felt right. Like we were at 3 crates, and then we went down to 2, and then it's been a work. It's probably still in a work in progress. So
yeah, no,
definitely.
And it's interesting and entirely independently of you guys. I did the same thing, and mine was very much a Chirrut type list, except I had crates in it from the beginning. But because that's what I'm trying to get to. But
I mean, crate's a big old dragon, so I mean, we get it.
All right, so let's start with the list here. Tibbits, this is the version you ran in Chattanooga. Is that what I'm looking at?
Yes.
Okay, so talk about the deck in broad strokes as you see it.
So the whole game plan is to just cheat out stuff. So like Cassian is a turn 1 battlefield marine, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have the initiative, A-Wing and Sabine usually kill your opponent's turn 1 plays for free, and while leaving something behind. You can cheat out Yoda or Cassian, and then turn 2 Carabast, cheat out a 1-drop. There's just so many lines. But like the goal is just to like turn 1 Cassian, turn 2 K2, turn 3 Poe, flip, smuggle out something, or play Kanan force throw. You just outvalue them, and they can't deal with it.
All right, SINatra, this is what you ran. Is this Gencon here, or have you updated it since?
I've updated it since. So honestly, how we go about the deck is we both will test out different things, and then I'll always like come back to our initial list, and then we'll try some other tweaks. So basically, what Tibbits is on now is kind of what I'm on. I have a couple different things I'm trying. That was just the list that we had set up for Gen Con. I also want to give a shout out to Sauce. Me and Sauce were talking quite a bit prior to his tournament in SCG where he performed incredibly well.
Really?
You know, he came up with like his list, and it had some differences from ours, like quite a bit. And he did adapt kind of the amount of work. You know, he went out with a leap of faith. He's like, I'll trust you. And he tried it, and it performed very, very well.
Top 8 all 3 days.
Yeah, top 8 all 3 days. Also a good player. He did the masterclass with the mono blue hiding control. So definitely by no means is some person that picked up the deck. And then we did, like, you know, in my version here, you could see he was on freighters. So I was trying out the freighter. I'd say one of the biggest things that he was on that I think is a really big point of the deck is Mace, especially in the current meta with things like Tech, things like DJ, things, all these 5 health units, Toro. Mace, even when cheated out, is often going to 2 for 1. And that's like why Mace is so good, is even when cheated out, is he gets his value.
While turning on force throw, by the way.
Yeah, Mace has been incredible. And if not, then you also get another good Carabas target.
Yeah.
So,
And we'll talk all about that.
Yeah,
I feel somewhat vindicated by the rise of Carabas after I was the literally only person playing at set 1 a lot of times. All right,
definitely got better in set 2 with Han.
It did,
for sure.
It did. And Frank, this is the list that you ran that I think I copied from your exact list.
Yeah.
And I see you made the important decision of putting Han in the swamp, which is the blue base I chose.
No, man, it's the science.
Everything I ever do is an homage to George the Hulk.
So,
Yeah.
Shout out to George.
Yeah.
Guy, but
I don't remember if it was Ryan or George that first invited SINatra in to test with us, but
it was George. They
Okay.
both advocated for me, but George was like, I asked him about it, and he brought up the Boston network prior to what it was.
Well, back then it wasn't even bought the network. It was us that, like an inner circle of just a few of us testing.
But it's like, I have a couple people, but go ahead.
Yeah. But you came in, you quickly wanted Dylan S. Tibbits back in with us. I think the first time we saw the list inside our testing group, it didn't have the 30-point base, didn't have crates. I think that the crates was definitely about for like, hey, add crate. I was back on a Queen of Dragons. I was putting crates in everything back then. Like, I didn't care what it was. I wanted crates in it. And then honestly, I think because I came from this perspective, it's a nice balance. Like, I'm an aggro player like Ryan. I think SINatra's a control and George are control players. And obviously Tibbits has got that kind of that mid-range Chirrut background. So when you blend, and look for this, for your audience watching the video, as you need to put your own testing team together, people you test with and play with. Try to blend styles. You don't want just aggro players. You don't want just control players. Get a nice blend. So I came in, and Ryan, we were hitting aggro decks like Blonde being hard into it. And we were fine until they switched to 30-point base. I remember that specifically, telling Ryan, he got on and like, we can't beat them anymore. They're on a 30-point. When y'all tried to shield stuff, it was just easy. We could get to 25. We never could get to 30, though. It was so great to be on a 30-point base. So I suggested the crates. We had gotten off of Obi before Gencon. So the first day I ran into that 4-3 kind of mid results. I lost a couple of game 3s close. Didn't have Obi, didn't have R2. R2 is also my kind of like, I guess coming from an aggro, I know the first time, even back at the Orlando 5K, when Michael Carlock kind of like put R2D2 into Green Sabine, I walked away from Orlando going, man, R2, I got to test this. Michael and I got in, TTS, started working on decks, and R2D2 is just so good. We're not sure yet. I mean, in the future, we may not have R2 in Hey Kid, but it worked great for me because I need R2 to help filter my deck. And twice I was able to play a first turn R2 for 0 and then Carabas out Sabine's first unit. And there's very few ways to kill a first turn unit in this game. So I think Sabine has initiative. They feel pretty comfortable keeping a wing leader as their second unit because they think, okay, I'm going to have my first unit there. Surely I'm going to have my first unit there for the wing leader. I have initiative. No, not if we can R2 Carabas you. I also saw it too with and Tibbits showed me this line of cheating out Yoda with initiative, so you can then right away force throw or Carabas off Yoda as the first action of turn 2. That's good too, but you have to have initiative for that line to stop Sabine. But with even without initiative, you can stop Sabine with an R2 Carabas first turn. Yeah, but so they came in, and I guess about 8 weeks ago, my job was really to just throw everything I could against the deck. I was their punch and dummy.
Yeah.
Please don't think this is my deck. This is Tibbits and SINatra's deck. I was just there to like throw every deck I could come up with. We have a great Palpatine player in our testing group, Jonathan Fisher. He really worked us hard on Palpatine in the deck. And then, because that's really kind of one thing we're still trying to shore up. It's not there yet on Palpatine, I don't think. Maybe they have a different opinion. But yeah, for Gencon day, my second day of Gencon, which is day 3 for everybody else, I added R2, put the Obi-Wans back in, and it just worked really great. I got ran over bad by Green Boba. Alex, the European that came over and finished 3rd to my 4th. He went like ramp, overwhelming barrage, fire spray, Vader, Maul in both games, just pop, 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 pop.
Yeah, that's a
I was like, okay, thanks for letting me sit here for a minute.
Don't beat yourself up. That was Chirrut's
Yeah.
worst matchup too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I made a point of putting in my deck list title Tibbits and SINatra because this is their deck and they did amazing work with it. I was just happy to have them on the team to be able to be a part of it. And all kudos go to these guys. They're the star of the show for this Hey Kid deck.
All right, so I want to spend a little bit of time on this. Actually, the master classes we're doing for Only Han Weeks, for taking a break from the format and actually just explaining one thing. But I mean, it's notable for me, and as a Chirrut player, I can see in the list kind of how a control, player got into this. But SINatra and Tibbits, I mean, tell us about building it up. Tell us about the thought process as you're kind of going from the initial concept of, hey, Han2 looks good, which I think is true. I think he's the best set 2 leader. What if he was with blue, right? But tell you how you actually then realize it, and then all the way up to kind of bringing it toward the final product.
So I'll start on that one. Just because I knew Tibbits was big into Chirrut, and we were talking even prior to set 2 coming out. I'm like, hey, what are you looking at? And he's like, I'm still kind of looking at Chirrut. and I messaged him back. I was like, man, I really think Han2. I didn't say Han2. I said the new Han because at the time we weren't calling it that. And I was like, I really think the new Han with blue is going to be really, really strong. And I was like how do you think we should build it? And it took him a bit. Then finally, I got him into the Discord, which is now the Baltimore network. Got him into the team, and I was like, dude, let's build this. So yeah, he pretty much just took his Chirrut, changed to 10 cards, and put a Han in, and we jammed it that way. And then I very much I could see it. He was on Security Complex. He's on Wing Leaders. He's on Forces with Me. He's literally all that Chirrut stuff. And the more it played, I'm like, this ain't it. It just didn't. It didn't feel right for what we wanted. And then slowly, I'm like, Frank brought up dude, let's throw Crate Dragons in there. And I was like, dude, we have to put Caravast in. I was like, we have to put it in. And at first it was eh. And it was like, dude, it's guaranteed. And then once we put it in, that was where we saw a really big shift in the performance of the deck. Is once we added Caravast, we were like, holy crap, this is something. And then I was like, dude, we got to put Tech in. And you already know from the last masterclass I did, I said it.
And why? I mean, why are you looking at cards like Tech? Why are you looking at cards like Crate for a deck like this?
The biggest reason for me is this aggro plan. Han isn't Chirrut. Chirrut being a rebel, it's very easy to Voltron Chirrut. You slam a bunch of stuff on them, make them unkillable. Hopefully they have something to do where they can't. So things like Wing Leader and Fleet Lieutenant, it forces your deck in a very singular direction, and it doesn't allow the deck to grow. So when I saw Han, I was playing all of your cards for 1 cost cheaper. The 2 damage is negligible. I'm playing above rate everything I play. And when you have that kind of modularity in a deck where you almost never have a bad starting hand, you almost never brick a turn 1, turn 2, turn 3 play. You always have plays. So the deck becomes so modular. And I'm like, we just got to play value. I was like, we can shore up early game. We don't need all of these things. You know how long it took me to get him off of Wing Leader? That was the hardest cut for me to get him off. He's like, nah, man, that Wing Leader's got to stay.
Bro, turn 1 A-Wing and a Wing Leader so good, man. Unbeatable.
I was like, man, it's just not good. And it's like I kept pushing him away from like that Chirrut show into this control side of things. I started looking at the deck like, let's create everything as 2-for-1s. Like Luke is a 2-for-1, Mace is a 2-for-1, Chewbacca's a 2-for-1. Like all of our good stuff is 2-for-1s, and that's very hard for decks to deal with when you're developing and removing.
And that's how a control player thinks, right? Because if you look to this very small, I guess, kind of slide of all brakes, no gas, which is actually a hilarious deck name for Boba Blue. But I mean, it has 1-for-1 removal all day, right? And things like Luke are kind of inherently 2-for-1.
Yes.
You know, I think Mace, if used correctly, is going to be inherently 2-for-1. And
No, it's better than that. No, Mace is better. Saws was so awesome to bring Mace in. And that was my fault. Like, I only had one Mace on the first day of Gen Con, and it was the MVP. I went to 2. Mace is 3-for-1. I mean, he'll come in, he'll clean up 2 units, 3 units. I mean, he's amazing. We don't have an overwhelming barrage in our deck, but we kind of have a expensive one with Mace. I mean, he's fantastic.
right.
Yeah.
But what I'm hearing, you know, as you guys went through this process is, I mean, you're looking then at Han, who's not a rebel, right? But does have his damage value type ability. So you're finding cards that synergize with that. I mean, Carabast has natural synergy with damage.
A big one is Chewbacca.
Yep, and
Yeah,
that's
Kind of hits you.
that's a card would never be in a Chirrut deck.
Because if you look at the Chewbacca card, which we'll get to later, the smuggle cost is red,
Mhm.
and it's a blue card. So, like, that was a big hint.
Right.
And cheating it out as a 6/8 is huge. And
Yeah,
defeating
we'll talk
something.
about it. That card is absolutely insane in terms of its numbers and what it can provide.
And there's a reason why it's a 2 of and not 3.
And there's probably like a yellow-red Han2 Wookiee deck theme, you
Yeah.
know, hitting somewhere in here too that they're designing and intending. But
I could see it, dude. There's some
Okay. so
mineral.
so you have this idea, and you know, I can see how this starts. I mean, so it starts with Chirrut being the closer, right? Because the blue Boba, you can't play really any of those cards in this deck.
No.
It's the
No, not
it's the wrong colors and wrong villainy hero aspect. But how do you then start to get it ready for like major tournaments? I mean, you guys
So
showed
you just slam it into everything. Like, we expected a lot of Boba Yellow. The one deck we did not expect was Han 1 Yellow.
Yeah.
That deck, but it still plays pretty similarly as Boba Yellow.
though you had a heads up on it because of your teammate, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, he didn't join until after.
Yeah, he was late in the process.
So honestly, us preparing this deck for we built the deck, we came up with the shells, we had a bunch of removal, then we just started putting in units that removed because Han's ability works for units. Then we thought, all right, what do we think is going to be most popular? And it was like Sabine Green, Mono Yellow Boba, like it was in some kind of soft control, which that was the case. We knew SCG Con was going to be a big indicator for where the meta was going to be. But prior to that, we just jammed, like Frank said, he was literally, him and Ryan at the time were like our punching bag. Like Ryan ran a billion Sabine Yellow matches into us. Frank ran every deck he could think of,
Yeah.
and we were just smashing. It was just like, it got to a point where like, can you guys like not play Blue Han? Because it like
We gotta find something else to play. This is destroying us.
And like this testing, like we would go through and like free takes backsies, roll it back. Like, what could you do different? Oh, if you did this, I do this. I have this answer.
So
You have so many answers in this deck that when you play against, they're going to be like, man, how the fuck do you always have it? And then you just be like, it's just what my deck does. I'm sorry.
the entire deck is an answer.
yep, and it's versatile. Now, one thing that I've heard CCG players say is running a gauntlet in decks and getting ready for.
Yeah, we have a
tournament.
gauntlet.
Yep. So what does that mean?
All the top meta decks and someone who's very specialized in that deck. For example, Ryan is very specialized in aggro, specifically Yellow Sabine. We have a friend named Michael. He's a very good green Sabine player. Frank is a good control player. Or not Frank, SINatra, George. We have like everybody specializes in
What are
something.
you saying? I run everything, baby. Let's go.
Don't let him fool you. He as soon as Yellow Sabine comes good, he's back on it. I guarantee it.
And the quality of your testing partners matters too.
Yeah.
Right.
Like pretty much like you even said it when you joined the Discord. You're like, man, is this the master class alumni club? And it was like,
Yeah.
it's a lot of strong players who have really strong finishes. So it's no slouching, and it's not like in a tournament when you mess up and people don't let you take back, or like you declare an attack and like, oh, you didn't realize you had a sentinel and then you had to swing into this, all the unlimited takes back. He's like, we'll roll it back 2 turns and what can I do different, and we just like talk through the game.
And that's why you have that kind of testing anyway, so you cannot do that in a big tournament. Like it's very important when you're testing that you're testing the right things. And it's not about what mistakes you make during testing, but it's knowing that in a big tournament, when you get to these very hyper competitive tournaments, not your locals, not your store showdowns, I'm talking the big tournaments, there's going to be zero leeway.
Yeah.
When you get to the top, when you're in the top 8, top 16, there is no, go ahead and take it back. There's no, you already untapped your resources. Go ahead and put one down. No, that's not going to fly.
You played cunning and you picked the bounce something with 4 or less power, but I have nothing with 4 or less power. I'm sorry.
Too soon. Don't bring that up, Dylan. That's too soon.
Yeah, well,
that's what Frank did, and he lost.
Back yesterday in Chattanooga, and it bit me in the butt hard.
Yep.
That was too nice. But what we're trying to achieve, and what you guys watching this want to do with your testing group, you want to create an environment where your practice games feel harder than the tournament games. You want to go to the tournament and feel like, oh, this is easier than practice. I mean, we say that all the time. Like even yesterday in Chattanooga, my first round opponent tried to play George's Han2 deck from Gencon. And it was so cute. Like, I love the guys. Like, after the games, I was like, okay, let me show you how to play this deck. And then I was like talking him through because I must have had like 100 to 200 games against George on Han2 before.
Were you talking like a pirate?
I will next time. I failed the pirate creed. I was not talking like a pirate. The point is that as you guys are forming your testing groups, find players that push you, that make you better, and make your practice sessions harder than the tournaments are going to be. I mean, our best tool, like I think Dylan was referring to this, but we'll all get in we'll get in TTS on Discord together. We'll have 8 to 10 people in one game with watching both sides of the players. And we will actually like, wait, stop, you effed that up. Here's what you should have done. We'll talk through every play line. We'll back up. We'll go like, let's try it with this play line, see how this goes out. We'll go back 2 or 3 moves because you can hit save on TTS and like reform a board really quickly. And then we'll play different play line. I mean, you got to like treat it like, I guess, a grandmaster in chess is training. Like you're trying every little different play line, trying to find the right one.
Yep.
By the time you get to the tournament, it feels easy.
And as you were putting this deck together, you just won every game, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
it would be me on Blue Han. It would be me on Blue Han, and like 4 of them would be on the other side piloting. Like, what do we do here? How do I win?
That was towards the end. I mean, at the beginning, before we went to the 30-point base, before we added the dragons, there was a while where we weren't sure what deck was going to be our deck for Gen Con.
Yeah, and there were still
a lot of work to get there. Yeah.
And I can tell you to this day, I'm always happier when somebody deals me a loss, because that usually teaches more than a win does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like when we started losing, that's like how we learned. It was like, all right, and Tibbits is very big on security complex. And I'm like, dude, because like I'm a big advocate of not running 25 health bases. Like I don't like them. Maybe ECL on a very specific deck, but that's it. But he was very much on security complex, and I get why. He was very good in Chirrut. It was very good at protecting your turn 1 unit when you're like, it's got its merit.
That's Tarkentown.
What?
Tarkentown and Chirrut.
Yeah, sorry.
But like the reason I'll talk about the security complex. The reason why I thought it was good is I was like, if I don't have the initiative, I can protect my turn 1 play, and then I can profitably trade and I get board advantage early. But I got blown out a lot by ECL, 3/4 Saboteur, and you just lose to Sabine. So
you've already made me happy with bringing Carabas to the front of competitive decks. There's a moment to peace card that I still run in some stuff too. That's not terrible. Okay, well, I think it was very helpful. So anybody looking to bring this, I mean, understand that these innovative decks as they come up, they don't come from nowhere. finding a testing group. And I mean, what you guys are doing over at Boston Network is good. Check it out in the comments. The multiple people watching a game is something that is common at the KTOD Discord too. We stream on late night. You just got to find people and quality opponents to jam games, and kudos on creating something new.
I will say one ad lib to it really quick is don't be afraid to, jam some games in Carabast, but do know that you're not going to get the same quality of players consistently. You're going to run into good players on Carabast, but in a consistent vacuum of we're going to jam 100 matches. Sometimes I will go in Carabast and just mindlessly jam like 100 matches just to memorize like muscle memory lines.
Yep, and
let me pull up my win rate.
The reps are really good. I mean, on that particular digital testing option, that I have some limitations as to what I could do, but I mean, so if it's a win rate north of 70, 75, that's usually
on Carabast currently. I've jammed 618 games with Blue Han2. Won 514 of them for a win percentage of 83.1%.
Yeah, I'm at an 82.7% out of like 160 matches.
Yep. And that's you got to take stuff with a grain of salt. You should be looking. You should be looking at that because I mean you'll get people that are trying, like Chirrut Red, and you're just trying the very early stages to get some reps in. So that's not exactly how the meta is going to be at a big event.
For sure.
Correct.
Okay, so Han Solo. This is the leader of the deck. Let's actually talk through the cards, get back kind of the master class. Thanks for all of your insights on building a deck. But why are we picking Han? I think that he's the only S tier leader from set 2.
I agree.
Because
I think he's on the power level of Boba.
And
he does the same thing.
Yeah. So the three that I would call in that level are Boba Fett 1, Sabine, and then Han 2. And
he does 3 very important things, which are
I like Kira. I mean, Kira may become Krennic again in our testing. We're going back towards Krennic, but Kira's pretty good too.
Yeah,
Kira's pretty good. Kira's who I rank as the next best leader in set 2, but
okay, I would put her in S tier though.
But less versatile. I think she has a spot.
Yes, you have to pump mana into your units. You can get blown out. It takes multiple actions, so you don't have initiative. With this Han deck, you're going to have the initiative a lot, which is very important into a lot of matchups. Making things cost 1 less, we play a lot of units, and a lot of those units remove other units, which is very big. One of the most important cards we play is Force Throw. So being able to cheat out Kanan, right, on 4 resources, and then Force Throw is big. Like, you can't do that in Chirrut, and just having, like, now we can play R2 as well. And there's a lot of things you can do with that 1 mana and curve out. We have like 6 2-drops, but the amount of turn 1 plays we have, if possible turn 1 plays without something dying, is like 16. So like every hand you see, you're gonna be like, man, this hand's pretty good. I'm gonna keep it.
So I somehow did get on my last day. I just did somehow lose a turn 1 play, which made me very sad.
Yeah, it happens.
It does happen.
But so how often are you using Han's playability? As opposed to
all the time.
So for the most part, you're using it. A lot of it comes down to certain matchups. A lot of it comes down to what your curve is. And like just to do like some brief. When we talk about Carabast, I'll talk about the certain number of 2-drops, the math that goes behind like certain cards. But essentially, you're cheating out on turn 1 almost all the time. Like if you have a Cassian, I'm pretty much cheating it out every single time. If I have a Yoda and I have like a Force Throw in hand, depending if I'm against like a Sabine that had initiative, I don't want to just run it into a Sabine. Like there's scenarios like against Palpatine or where your curve's going that you don't always want to cheat, but you are cheating out probably 90% of the time.
Like for example, Sabine unit is probably your best turn 1 play against a Boba Yellow. Right? Kills Greedo for free, especially if you have the initiative. Kills Crafty Smuggler for free. Cassian does not do that. He trades 1 for 1.
Good against
but Sabine kills them.
Sabine.
Yeah.
All right. And actually, Tibbits had me change to the leader side rather than the deployed side.
Yeah, the 3/6 body. We're not playing, 5-6 units a turn or anything like that. You might play 2 units a turn. You might cheat one out and then play one at full health. But usually you're only going to be cheating out 1 unit. This deck is not the deck that you want to cheat out a bunch of stuff. It's usually just like, here's a threat, deal with it. Here's a threat, deal with it. Here's a threat, deal with it. And eventually they run out of answers.
And there are some decks that punish that too. I mean, the obvious one's Cat Bane. I mean,
Yeah.
where it's real dangerous to be using Han's ability, frequently. Anything that runs Barrage can punish it.
Oh yeah, Overrun Barrage is a brutal card.
OB is a big stone wall for us. Yeah.
All right.
But we have a lot of removal, so
Yeah.
All right. So, is playing Luke for 6 good?
yes.
I mean, Luke is just insane. For me, Luke is better than Vader. He's like one of the best legendaries. Like Luke, I don't even know what to say. And he's already good at 7. He's like on 6 is absurd. As a 6/5, I'll gladly pay 6 for a 6/5 that can give something -6/6 with a restore 3 built into the body. Like
Kills a
it's
bunch of
huge.
leaders that deploy on 6.
Yeah.
Boss, Ray, it just kills a bunch. It's good.
He just killed them.
And if you have Luke, 2 Lukes, it's emergency removal because
It's your best card against mono Han decks,
Mhm.
mono Boba decks.
Yeah, I did that multiple times in a couple of my games where I would Luke while I had a Luke out.
Yep.
To remove their unit.
and
They
you,
were like,
and you
"Oh."
can do it on an initiative and leave the ready one too. I don't know if people
Yeah.
always know that, but that is how that works. You get the when played without keeping that unit there. So
Correct.
I mean, generally you want to make them remove your Luke and attack with it
Mhm.
before you do it, but sometimes it does pop up. Luke's ability kills the lurking tie.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay,
Which
so
is big.
all right,
It's a big Cooper one.
and I shout out to Tibbits to putting this as far up on the list as it is. This is my favorite card in Star Wars Unlimited.
It's one of the
Best card in the game.
Yep.
No, not the best, but
So,
one of.
so from a value perspective, when it's on, and that's what this card is all about. You guys talked about Valuetown when we did the art, but I mean, it does damage. I mean, you can target yourself
2 for 1.
or the other side.
Mhm.
So let's talk about some advanced, like some Force Throw 401.
So like
How often are you targeting yourself as opposed to the other side? And
mainly against aggro.
Late game, mostly late game for me.
So like aggro, like early turn, like for example, if you run into a Kylo Ren and they haven't used any mana, but they've attacked with all their units, and you have a Force unit out, and they have 3 mana open, there's a good chance they have a saber in hand. So when they flip Kylo and put a saber on it, if you have a Force unit, you just pass. They're going to put that saber on that, and then you force the redemption, kill it, and they're like, oh fuck, okay, fine.
Yep.
Yeah, once you do that game's pretty much over.
Yep, and that's the Chirrut player in the room talking. Always be conscious of their hand and their hand size, right?
Mhm.
And yours.
Right against control, like if they have 1 card in hand, you have the initiative, or like they have no cards in hand, they draw 2, they resource 1, you have the initiative, right? And they're thinking about their resource decisions very long. We talked about this in the Chirrut Masterclass, and they're thinking, probably a good time to just force throw them, even if you don't have a Force unit. I guarantee it's probably an Avenger.
In fact, against hard control, that class of deck, it's kind of irrelevant whether you have a Force unit because they don't have any units out for you to kill anyway.
Most of the time, yeah.
But that last card in their hand is probably the best card in their hand. Is the way to think about it.
SLB, Avenger, something good.
So, I mean, I think we said this is quoting the Chirrut Masterclass when me and Wu were talking, but Force Throw always reads spend 1 to defeat the card in their hand.
Yes.
It's true.
All right, so
It's a little laggy for me.
It's a star of the deck. There's plenty of Force units. Hero Blue Red is the best at Force.
Yes.
Han is probably not as good at Chirrut as enabling
No.
Force as a leader, but
Which is why we got rid of some of the Force aspects of the deck, but kept the card that was the best one for it. So
and it is the comeback mechanism too. I mean, when you need to get max value, there's not a lot of things that you can spend for one that's going to defeat one of their cards, and also hopefully another one of their cards.
killing a Crate Dragon for 1, tossing your own stuff to finish out their Crate Dragon, making sure you're getting rid of key targets in their hand. I like it. It's very, very flexible in what it can do.
By the way, if you force throw something to kill a Crate Dragon, how much Crate Dragon damage do you take?
One.
One.
Big thing.
It does not have anything to do with what you just threw at him.
Yep.
All right. Let's talk about
Also
force.
great at one-shotting leaders, mainly Luke, Vader.
Sabine, any of that stuff.
Yeah.
One of the few times I target myself is I will generally throw a Luke at Boba's head.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just because
kill
he-
Boba.
He's
That
he's
matchup's
strong.
all tempo.
Right.
Yep.
So my boy Kanan Yaris, Yoda, I think is just as good as Kanan, but this is kind of the core of the Force package here.
I like
Mhm.
Kanan more.
All right.
Great
Yeah,
turn 2
yeah.
play.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like, yeah, he becomes basically a battlefield marine without Sentinel, but he's got a huge upside that they have to kind of answer. So against an aggressive deck, if they go space and you just drop a Kanan, well, they have to kill him. He's going to be restoring at a minimum 1, which is also why we still have Sabine in the deck. Sabine plus Kanan out is huge. I mean, that's a lot of healing and pressure.
And one thing that I think, and having run Green Sabine into this too, I think that actually a lot of the Sabines that are struggling with decks like Rey, and this, it's because they're not killing Kanan and Yoda. You have to kill Kanan and Yoda. They're not killing the restore units. You can't just
And we get to cheat those out a turn early.
right.
Yep.
So like they go A-Wing, we go Yoda. And then they go Wing Leader, we go Kanan.
Right.
And then we're probably good.
Though, I mean, you can play Kanan hard cast too. I mean, a lot of times Kanan in a force throw is a very good thing to happen on the turn you're flipping Han.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And a
We
lot
don't
of
have
times-
any happen usually around.
Well,
Besides
a lot
Poe.
of times we keep that stuff too. Like if we have like K2 Kanan in our hand,
Mhm.
we just make the call. We're like, all right, we'll probably cheat out the
K2.
unless we need the Kanan early. We'll cheat out the K2, play the Kanan at full health, or like if I have 2 Kanans, I will often cheat one out, know he's probably gonna die, and then play the next one next turn at full health because often he does die. So it's like those are the lines you're looking to go for, where it's like, cool, they killed my first one, now here's a full health one.
And if you're going against this deck, be conscious of when they have the force take active or not, because
And what SINatra said, you can do the same thing with Poe.
Yep.
Like cheating Poe out a turn early, they deal with the first one. Bam, second one.
I often will keep 2 Poes in my hand, knowing the first one's gonna die.
and that's the essence of mid-range value, right? I mean, when I
Yeah.
was talking with a very good content creator, good player, about kind of the curve here, and then I had Wrecker in there, which is a very close card to my list, because Wrecker can do some things despite being anti-synergistic with the idea of a Crate Dragon. But like playing Poe, then Wrecker, then Luke, I mean, at some point they run out of answers.
Yes. It's true.
Yep.
And once Luke's 6th, the game's pretty much over. If you can't remove a Luke, he's gonna kill you and heal and stabilize. All right, Crate Dragon. You said that adding this made a significant improvement.
Yeah. Thanks, Frank.
Yeah.
I'll talk about this card. Honestly, I was like, man, there's like most games are gonna be over before you even get to play to crate. But you'd be surprised how often like even against an aggro, like you can even get to like resource 8, which is like
Mhm.
when you can really like play this. And like if you slam this, like any deck that plays units, like they play a unit and you just kill the unit for free. It just sits there, and if they like you like immediately after you play it, like even if you have other units to attack to, you just claim, and your first action you hit them for 10. That most of the time that puts them within like 5, 6, 7 health, and that's all the resources they have in order to deal with the crate. And then you have all your other stuff. So he's pretty good. He's also like a miniature super laser blast. Like if they have board presence, like you can just slam a crate, and like they swing 3 units into it, and all their units die. You just like, okay, well, I'll just 8 mana super laser blast their ground arena.
Yeah, it's pretty. There's not much to say. Crate is one of those cards that lock in your wins, secure your wins, and it can bring you back from games you might have lost.
Right.
Just don't play it against a Palpatine that hasn't flipped yet.
Yeah,
Don't let them steal Crate Dragon. That is
Yeah, that feels pretty bad.
That's
If you do that, you might as well go to the next game.
I will say, unless you have overwhelming board presence and you're able to heal your crate every turn, maybe go for it. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, don't risk it.
with the redemptions. But yeah, no, I think it's just it's a very strong card. But crate for 8 followed by crate on 9 is
Oh, and a big thing about crate is like the lead up to it. So like resource 6, right? We're playing Luke. The next resource 7, we're playing Chewie. Both of those are 2-for-1s, right?
Sure.
And most of the time, both of those demand an answer. And if they don't answer those, you're probably winning anyways. But if they answer Luke and they answer Chewie, they probably don't have an answer for crate.
and if they
And then you just slam the crate, and it usually sticks.
if they half answer Chewie, he gets really mad and hits for 13.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Chewie's not one you want to leave sit on the board. He gets scary quick.
We used to struggle against like green-red villain mid-range, but Chewie really shores up that matchup nicely.
Have you guys got lethal by open firing your Chewie yet? Because that's something that's amusing as hell.
It's so funny too. I've also gotten it by open firing my K2.
Yeah, that's right. I play actually a lot of double red with killing your K2 with aggression is time honored strategy.
Yeah.
All right, so Poe is probably not as good as in a deck with ECO.
No,
It's not.
but
Yeah.
we have a pseudo ECO
Nice
by
on
cheating
4
it out.
resources, though.
So it enters in ready.
So
That's pretty good.
So tell me what matchups you're looking for Poe.
Everyone.
Everyone. I mean, Poe is.
You want to play this? We run 3.
Yeah.
Like we did the math. You should see it over 50% of your games by the turn you can play it. With at least you'll see at least one. It's like 60% of games.
Yeah.
And Poe does everything you want it to. Like against aggro, defeating like a Sabered Sabine, swinging into it, discard, defeat a wing leader. Or against control, discard cards to make them discard. Holding leader hostages, like all the things you want to do. So.
Right, because Poe does have synergy with K2 Force Throw. I mean, we talk about the Discord package. If you wanted to hear more about the Discord package, just watch the Chirrut Masterclass where we spent, I think, a lot of time on it. But getting a control deck to top deck is important and powerful. I mean, they unless it's Han.
In set 1, it was a lot easier to do that because they didn't have smuggle cards. But like even in set 2, like smuggling, unless it's Hondo, like their smuggle cards aren't too scary. So I'd much rather deal with their top decks than what they have in it. Because like if they have a handful of answers, you're probably losing. I'll be honest.
Yep. So what I'm hearing here is that a lot of time Poe is dying, so your Luke can live.
Yeah, he
Kind
eats a
of.
removal.
I mean, the biggest thing for Poe, playing Poe on 4, and oftentimes that's why if I have 2 in my hand, I keep both. Because I know I'm playing 1 on 4, and I know 9 times out of 10 he dies. Well, I'm dropping another one. Against like something like Mono Yellow, don't do that. Because if they can't Xenobounce or Waylay after you just paid 5 to play a Poe, that's not a fun time. And chances are you're never replaying that Poe. So it's very matchup dependent. But the biggest thing about Poe on 4 is he holds leaders hostage. That's the biggest thing. He does what you need him to in other aspects, but making it so they can't deploy their Boba. He's gonna answer their Sabine. He's gonna kill the boss. He's gonna kill it. He kills everything. He literally, like, if you want to flip your leader, he's going to kill it. So they have to answer him. That's the biggest thing. They have to use something to get rid of him.
All right, tell me about how Cassian functions as a
I
deck.
think he's probably one of the best smuggle cards in set 2. He's like a pseudo Falcon. It's very hard to mess with your resource pile. There'll be many turns where you go late, where you just smuggle 2 of these out, swing for 6, and that's lethal.
Pseudo Falcon 1. The 3-drop Falcon. Yep, because he comes in ready from smuggle.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I mean, you can also just play him turn 1 as a 3/3, which is great.
Yep,
he's good. He's good.
Yeah, I think I want Cassian in my opening hand.
Yeah, Cassian's
invariably.
card.
Right.
And if you draw him late, he's a resource.
That you can get back.
Then after they SLB, smuggle him out, hit something.
And he's often the last damage. Because I mean, you get into this thing in Star Wars Unlimited with action economy and people having to do one thing and claim.
Yeah,
what is there?
Like you put them within one action with like if they let you have initiative, you just claim, and then you can kill them with Poe or Luke or something, right? So then they claim, and then you have 5 open resources to smuggle them out, kill them anyways. So.
All right. Yeah, no,
It's good. Good.
All right. Carabast. I mean, so
Carabas is nuts.
So
that's Sinatra's.
And
Yeah.
it is, and you can check back in the masterclass, and I still had it in my list because I think it's great. It has synergies with even some things in Chirrut, and Hans are a lot stronger.
Yeah.
It does 2 to deal damage to anything, equal to the damage on it plus 1. So how does it play early game?
So like, I'll talk a bit about this because it's like when I brought it up, just realizing how good it was in Han. Like the best first thing is it's a guaranteed pay 2, deal 3+. I mean, so that's already good math. And then like early game, if you have initiative, you cheat out a Cassian. Let's say you're against Sabine, they play an A-wing. Your first action, Carabast, kill. Well, now they don't have an A-wing. Their wing leader's useless. Like all of those things that happen, like ideally you're using even cheating out a Yoda, cheating out any drop to be able to Carabast on the next turn. And then let's say you have a 2-drop in your hand. Now you get to Carabast plus cheat out an A-wing or a Sabine. That was the math behind having 6 2-drops, because we will see that line. What was it? 57% of the time or 60% of the time, you can see that lineup happening. And that was the same thing with like 4-star plus Carabast. Like it opens up these lines to be able to kill their first unit, to take that tempo and get it to a point where you're just almost always having initiative now. And they're just having to answer what you're playing because they lost that tempo. And it's really hard in a deck like this that's so modular that we're playing so many things ahead of curve that it's very hard for you to take the tempo back from us.
It's also even good late game with like redemption. You can like if Chirrut like wants to hold your leader hostage for some reason, you flip Han, they flip Chirrut, 3 damage on Han, you Carabast for 2, deal 4 to Chirrut. They can't do OB anymore. And now they're looking at their hand of 3 overwhelming barrages like,
It's good anti-Chirrut tech in any deck. I one-shot a Pelp after deploy with a Carabast on a Chirrut because I had it set up and I knew what he was going to do. So I ran my Chirrut into the Luke he stole to kill it and put 11 damage on my Chirrut. And he definitely, guys named Connor, he actually prevented me from winning my last showdown because I was on Vader and he ran Chirrut into me after I played against him so much with the local. But yeah, the one-shot Palpatine, for 12 with Carabast.
And I think the Carabast lines are even better in this deck because let's say you're against any deck that doesn't ramp with like Avenger, right? They Avenger, they kill your only play. You have all your resources open. You're at 9 resources. They're at 9, right? You cheat out Redemption, right? Heal 6, and then you Carabast like you're both on 9, and then you have to just kill it for free. Right. Not many teams can do that.
And it actually answers great. I've had games where it actually was most of what the damage would you needed for crate, and you only take 2. All right. How's it work with R2, Frank?
Oh, he's muted.
Oh, we lost your audio, buddy.
Okay. Earlier, when you were talking about the action cheating or the resource cheating of the Han leader unit ability, one thing is that when you're playing on curve, if you do want to play something out without cheating it out, R2 gives you a free cheat. You can just play R2 for free if you didn't need his ability for something else. So that's another thing. And since you have Carabast up, we already mentioned the first turn, cheat out R2 for free and then use Carabast is just chef's kiss. It's beautiful.
The lines I've noticed with R2 as well is like you have a Luke and like you have a unit died, but they have no board and you're at 7 resources, but you don't want to play Luke. You want them to play something, but you have no further actions. Like maybe cheat out the R2 as a pseudo pass without passing, and then they play a unit. Bam, Luke, kill it instantly. That always feels good.
And the higher skill level players benefit from the filtering that R2 provides on the top of the deck. I mean, Dylan helped me with this, that if you know the exact cards you need in this exact matchup, you get a lot more out of R2 than someone who's not even really sure what they're trying to do with the deck against the matchup.
Like, for example, against Han 1, you want Luke. Against Boba Yellow, you probably want Redemption. Against Sabine, right? You probably want some cheap removal like open
Obi.
fire, Carabast, Obi. Yeah,
You're looking
You
for
don't want
Obi
to draw
against
the dragon. You at least you see the dragon, you're like, that's going to the bottom of my deck.
Yeah.
Against
I don't want
So-
my late game.
Yeah, side it out. We'll talk about a little bit there. All right, Redemption. Redemption
I mean-
actually comes into play in Sabine matchups
It's-
a fair amount as well, but for the heal.
Yeah.
It's crazy. There's a reason there's 3 of them in the deck.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now-
So-
it's,
That's a change from
So-
Gencon, but yeah.
So and what can Redemption heal from?
Everything. Units,
Everything.
bases.
Units or bases or
Yeah.
units. I mean, typically it's done for a base, but
Uh-huh.
I think we were talking a little bit about Palpatine before.
Yeah. So there's a card called Midnight Repairs, which we considered. We're like, wait a minute. We can just do that with Redemption, cheat it out, and then you get to kill the Redemption because you can heal 8 even though it kills it.
Yeah.
And you just heal
Mhm.
your whole board, like if you have initiative and
kill
going into their power
Redemption,
flip.
And Palpatine has nothing to grit.
And now
get.
And they're like, And now they have to play a unit, you know. You just kill it with your leader or some shit. Who knows?
that's the big thing. Redemption's not tied to it needing to live. It's just you can heal all the way, even if you cheat it out and let it die.
Or you just like against Boba, they play Fet's Fire Spray, hit you for 5, you have initiative, you cheat out Redemption, heal 6. Now you have a 6/1 Sentinel for their Fet's Fire Spray. Their Fet's Fire Spray did nothing.
Fire Spray is definitely why this was in our Chirrut decks to start. But I mean,
It's
you
good.
get,
Yeah,
you,
I
get used,
bounce it.
you get used to it, and it's a
Do it again. I'll heal another 8. Please bounce it.
no. That's right. All right, so let's talk about the early plays. I have the A-wing up here, but you have Sabine, Cassian. I
Mean
think
A-wing.
is a common turn 1 plays. What turn 1 plays are you looking for into different matchups?
It depends if you have initiative or not. Like with initiative, I love an A-wing or Sabine unit first without cheating anything out if I have initiative, or cheating out a casting if I have initiative.
That's the
If I
aggro
don't
player
have
come through.
initiative, yeah, I don't want to play an A-wing or a Sabine unit if I don't have initiative.
Yeah.
So I'll rather cheat out a Cassian because I know worst case I'm trading.
Or,
A-Wing's really bad against. I will say, against like Green Sabine, don't even when I have initiative. If I have any other play, the squadrons ends up being a resource because if they like ECL out their A-Wing to kill our A-Wing, it's really annoying for us to deal with an A-Wing. And now all of a sudden they like that's not very. It's really not good for us.
Yeah. They do use their ECL early, but you know.
See, I was about to say, this is where like he's looking at it from a control player's perspective. I'm looking at an aggro player's perspective. I would love for them to use their ECL right off the bat.
It's really
no
tough.
more ECL Poe, no more ECL Wrecker. I'm fine. I can find a way to do 2 damage to an A-Wing.
Not
Or
when
I'll
they-
heal it.
We're gonna
I'll just
win the
out-heal
area.
it.
No,
Yoda basically out-heals an A-Wing. I mean, let's go. Please use your ECL on turn 1. I don't mind that as an aggro player.
Yeah.
I know.
Personally, if I don't have initiative and they go A-Wing, I prefer to just try and out-heal it with Yoda, Kanan.
Yeah. I
And
just meant
That's the more ideal line.
And
Yeah.
you know, given this particular deck, if you have Yoda and Force Throw, well, that adds up to 3 if you don't have initiative. So you can sequence late. Sometimes you sequence Force Throw early. Sometimes you sequence it late.
Just something quick of note. So like if you cheat out Kanan, right, and then they go into the Sabine flip, don't just swing Kanan at their base, right? Just pass. Let them flip, right? So even if they saber Sabine, like they flip Sabine, you swing Kanan into her, then they saber her, and then you claim, and then you swing Kanan into it. That kills it, right? But when you swing and you like preemptively swing, just like, oh, I need this healing, you end up biting yourself in the foot a lot more. You know, just pass. Like you're not racing them in any world. You want to trade your units into theirs. So you just pass, trade units. You know.
Yeah.
Let
And
me say one thing about that, Loopy, real quick, is our deck loves for them to pass, and we take initiative and surprise them with that. We want to go late in the game as we can. There's so many times someone will pass. It even happened in Chattanooga yesterday. I haven't done anything in the turn. I'll just take initiative, go to the next turn. Come on.
yeah.
I want to go late.
So, and this is towards the control end of midrange is where I would put this deck, and it's the most control-y of the 3 blue-red contenders because Rey and Chirrut are both good decks. I mean, so you know, and they all have advantages, you know, too. I prefer Han overall, but I mean, if I was going into a field of mostly Sabine, I would bring Chirrut still because he has some advantages that they don't. But not a lot beats your endgame.
No,
Mm,
not a
yeah.
lot.
Only the greediest decks, and that's why like Mono Green Palpatine's so rough. They,
Yeah.
they
And
the reoccurrence and the amount of threats they have, we can't deal with that many.
and
Yeah.
the I mean, really, the only thing that you don't have a good answer for is Devastator. Though I see the Fells are probably in there.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
have 2 Fells main, 1 sideboard, which I really
Mhm.
like. Fells by far the best removal.
And the natural enemies of this deck, by the way, are the greedy ramp decks.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the least favorable matchup. I mean, Palpatine has the 9 ramp cards, so that's
Mhm.
there. But I mean, like a Boba Green is not that far behind it. I mean, that's not.
Yeah, if
what
they
you
ramp,
want.
it's rough.
That's not what you want to be fighting all day.
Anything with ramp and overwhelming barrage is rough.
Yep. So, and that's like, any villain green deck is going to have ramp and overwhelming barrage. How do you guys think? Well, we'll talk about let's talk about the matchups. We are actually through the cards.
Wait, there was one card not in there.
Oh my God, what did I miss?
Tech.
Tech.
Okay.
How do we miss Tech?
So
It's fine.
all
So-
I'm gonna say is I'm gonna reiterate what I said during the first masterclass. When you asked for my hot take, and I said Tech is the best card in set 2, and for me, it's probably I put it up there as one of the best cards in the entire game.
Yeah,
Um,
put that in receipts. Call in your
put it
shots. I'll acknowledge that once I saw, and studied your list and modified it too. The one thing I'm sure I'm wrong on is I should have had Tech in here.
I said it during that Tech is going to be in. If you're not an aggro deck, Tech should be in every deck, and in control decks, villainy control decks, it should be at least a sideboard card. There's no card in the game that offers you such a large toolbox that does what it does. There's nothing close.
We were talking about that yesterday. I do know Mickey D. Shout out to his channel. If you haven't checked out Mickey D's Pelp video, that's the Pelp video that you want to watch right now, I think. Guy from Iowa. But he's on Tech now in the sideboard and Pelp Green just because, the recursion there, it's like playing with a whole nother
I
hand.
thought it like 3 months ago. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, there you go. And I don't know why, because I actually had it. I can see it in there, but somehow the Tech got missed. Trying to keep the sauce secret, but I think
so good.
I think Tech is certainly top 5 cards in set 2.
Like, if you're both 8 resources and they SLB, like if you're up against a control deck, you smuggle out Tech, and you smuggle out a 2-drop, because most of the time they want to go SLB into Avenger, because, and then, but now you have Tech and A-Wing or something, they Avenger, you kill the A-Wing, now you just have all this mana to do whatever you want.
Yeah, and if you had to do the unthinkable and resource a force throw, you can rescue it. I mean, I think that there's a misperception with some people that Tech is units. Tech is not units. Tech is any card.
Yeah.
For all the dragons you had to resource earlier, getting a crate that you had to force yourself to resource a loop. It opens up a whole new deck for you.
Or if you had to discard cards with Poe, right, to like deal with their board, now Tech, you have this all other hand, and like you get to rebuild your hand,
Yeah. And smuggle is hand advantage, right?
Yes, it's like drawing a card.
Smuggle is like drawing a card. Yep, thanks. The same thing the Han guys talked about. Tech's obviously best in Han 1 with
Yes,
the DJ.
it's really good.
The DJ thing is just an existential threat that everybody has to deal with.
Gotta respect it.
All right.
Yeah, against that matchup, he played to the ground, just so no space. It's all ground.
Right. And we'll talk about Han Yellow in a second, but if you have to force throw to stop that, you kill Tech with it, right?
Yeah, most of the time I'm actually resourcing my event against the double yellow just simply because Bodhi, and I don't want to discard cards. Like, at least like the first 2 turns, and then if I draw into it, we go for it. But
Though, you should be winning on the ground. I mean, if you've lost the ground arena with this deck, you've lost. So
yeah,
presumably
play the ground.
Yep. All right, so let's talk about matchups. Let me get to my new and improved script. I had 1 script for every single set 1 masterclass, and I did have to do a second one, now for set 2. But Sabine aggro, what's our game plan? It's not
Sabine aggro.
It's not as favored as Chirrut was into Sabine set 1. I don't think.
Yeah, I agree. You definitely have answers for like a Sabered Sabine. You're mostly going to be force throwing yourself in that matchup. If you have the initiative, right, you want to play like Sabine or A-Wing, right, to be able to kill their turn 1 player, cheat out Cassian. Carabas is really good. You want to keep all your removal. You're just trying to get to late game, and then as soon as you cheat out Luke, followed by cheat out Redemption, like you just out heal their damage, and then they can't catch up. They're all out of gas.
Yeah,
That's the game plan.
Is the big thing.
If you have open fire and vigilance in your list, it's because of that matchup. Yes.
Yeah, I have 2 vigilance sideboard for those matchups. The healing 5, like because sometimes cheating out Luke, right? You just need the healing that turn, or you're like the ECL'd Han or the ECL'd Wrecker killed your leader. Now you can't cheat out Luke,
Yep.
So
All right. So how does it change for Sabine Yellow? Because I don't think Sabine Yellow should be retired.
Sabine,
It's still a good deck. I think
it's rough.
If they get space and they get wide in space, and we have a hard time with wide space. Same as the Tarkin deck. I mean, if they get more units, if by turn 3 they've got 5 spaceships, we kill 2 or 3 of them. They got a 4 cause I believe in, backing it up. I lost I think the first day of Gencon, it was Green Sabine, but they went just as I stabilized on turn 5, they went 4 cause. And I was like, oh,
That
my
reach.
22 just became 30. And we can't do anything about that. So it's wide units. U-wing reinforcement is really bad against us unless we have the board. If they have the board, or if the board's even and they go 3 units from U-wing, that's going wide like the Tarkin space deck and the Sabine space deck can do. Then yeah, that's where we have trouble.
Right.
Those are the matchups you want initiative to be able to like swing with that Luke and heal 3 immediately because that's eat it.
Yeah. No.
Another trick.
Yeah.
Another trick of playing against Sabine is if I have an open fire in my hand and they have initiative, I will often just claim, and then I will open fire their first unit before they can wing leader it.
And that's time. I talked about that in my Vader vet deck from forever ago when I did Force Ram Vader. I mean, you need to deny the follow-up turn 1 play. Now, most Sabines, nowadays are going to be smart enough to keep 2 alternative 3 drops because they're not as confident anymore. There's decks that can, with basically perfect accuracy, always remove turn 1. Cad Bane Red is, you'll never get it through because they can play any Underworld in Tarkin Town. But yes, you need to avoid losing before. The game plan is to stabilize with a Luke and maybe a redemption. And at that point, though,
you get redemption.
Right. Yeah. But that's what puts the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
And
redemption is it. And you get there, you won. Go to the next game. Yeah.
But I mean, you should be resourcing your crates. You don't resource a mid game.
Sideboard, like you're probably taking out Chewies, taking out crates. You're probably bringing in you just want all the removal possible.
Yep.
All
more healing.
Spells can come out.
Yeah, and
spells don't hit much.
And if it's all aggro, you can consider some upgrades too. I mean, Jedi Saber or Entrenched are very good anti-aggro cards.
Yeah, like Entrenched Yoda turn 2.
Devotion's another good anti-aggro card. All right, what about villain aggro? Because it plays a little different, but it certainly has some power.
Yeah, Kylo, like
Kylo's okay. We have so much removal for Kylo's units. If you kill Kylo's units, in our testing, we just didn't have any trouble as long as we kept the board clear.
There's no really villain aggro that I'm scared of, to be honest. I think the closest one that honestly is probably the scariest is some kind of Tarkin, like Tarkin Yellow. That isn't hinging on the gimmicky, like Triple Dark Raid, only Phantom. Like if they just play a normal green-yellow Tarkin,
go wide.
Getting wide. I mean, that was my only loss at Gen Con.
Our teammate.
Against one of our teammates.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, I think that Sabine ECL is really kind of keeping a lot of go wide decks out of the meta. But I mean, Vader Green can go real wide, and decks like this that have lots of 1-to-1 removal can struggle against that.
We don't have bombing run in our deck anywhere.
Right. So I mean, anything could be tech for. All right, so let's talk about the double yellow decks. Boba first. What are we trying to do?
Ooh, Boba's probably going to be one of your easier matchups because you just want to go late. You have so much removal, so like if they go cunning buff, like you can just like fell, take down Chewie, Mace. You have force throw to just throw at stuff. Like you just one shot all their stuff. You go late, and then eventually like they're gonna like you swing and kill something. They play Fett's Fire Spray. You play Luke. They just lose. Like you can Luke the turn they play Fett's Fire Spray. -6 it, and if that ever happens, you just win. You get to redemption, heal 6, you win. It's just if you ever slam crate, you win.
Our deck thrives because of the meta shift from green boba to yellow boba. Tapping and bouncing is fine with us. We just want the game to go longer. Go long enough without you ramping. Don't ramp on us. And go long, we're fine. We're going to win all those games. Green boba, we have a problem with ramp. Yellow boba, they're just delaying the inevitable, and we're going to get them. I mean, almost
Their
every
turns
time.
become like cunning, tap, tap, bounce.
We
And
don't
they like
care.
have no board, you just win.
Yeah, once that happens, that's pretty much in on the coffin. And then honestly, Han1 plays very much the same way as Yellow Boba. We do have to be conscientious of tech and DJ. Like the moment you just need to know in my hand, do I have an answer to tech? And that's the biggest thing.
All the time.
My hand and my board, right? Because
Yeah.
you know,
Can we
like
answer tech or can we answer DJ immediately?
they can't play tech with a ready po.
Like if they have no ground board,
Yeah.
I will simply and I have like 4 units I'll just pass. Like,
I'll pass
what are
the
you gonna do?
entire time.
Well, smuggle something out, I'll kill it. Oh, okay. Unit Han, kill something. Here's a loot. Bam, kill it for free.
In the end, your end game is a lot better than
Yeah,
Yellow
for
Han.
sure.
Yeah.
That's what
But
you're
I
trying to
think
get to.
where Hero double yellow has an advantage, and Ian's built some great decks along these lines, is the hand hate. They can spark us at the wrong time and screw us up. They can cure us at the wrong time and screw us up with our plans. So that's difficult. If they get ahead that way and get a DJ off, we can. That's where we do lose some games.
It can get really rough.
And Millennium Falcon's a pretty good card.
Yeah.
Falcon's great. That's why
Open fire's great for-
open
I
fire.
can definitely push damage if you don't have answers.
Yeah.
All right. So now ramp decks. I mean, let's talk about Boba Green. I mean, so if you're beating it, what happened? What are we trying to do?
So that matchup's more about tempo because I mean I have a lot of experience with Chirrut. So like a lot of the times you wanted to stick a force unit and then force throw yourself, kill Boba the turn it flips. Now it's even more important with Boba's armor coming around because you can't force throw yourself and kill it with anything in the deck that kills Boba, right? Not even force throwing crate doesn't kill it. So a lot of the times you want to either if you know they're about to flip, you probably want to swing something into it, or if you have a force unit, force throw yourself if you have it. It's very important just to you just want to try and get to late game as best you can, but they have some really solid late game, but you have to get board state early, and if you don't, it hurts.
Yeah. 100%. If they get an OB off at the wrong time and they've already got a board state, it's really bad for us.
Right. And what Boba Green should be trying to do is just ramp on you, you know, and try to be getting on Vaders while you're still on 5.
Yeah. So our deck is definitely thriving because the meta shifted from Boba Green to Boba Yellow.
I will say though, in these control matchups, like Boba Green is tough. Not only because of the ramp plus overwhelming barrage, but it's also the fact where we said that decks that go wide. And Boba having access to 8 resources, they're generally going to have 1 or 2 units on the board if we weren't able to clear. Then they deploy Boba. Then they develop 2 more units. And then they Vader
with another unit coming out.
Yeah, that's where it gets really tough. But that's why mono green Palpatine, if we're talking about hardest decks, at least in my testing, is mono green Palpatine. They have all the ramp, they've got big bodies, they have overwhelming barrage, and they're just
the smuggle is awful for us.
Well, it's mostly they've got the new 4 enterprising lackeys, a 4 cost 5/5 is great. But what the biggest thing is if we can't get them in top deck mode early, and they're able to draw so many cards that it becomes hard.
And it's Palpatine, right? It's what he does is he has his leader ability itself, draws it.
He's able to protect his hand.
I mean, I still think that you have to pillage it. I mean, you have to try to get it into top deck mode, but I mean, it seems every time I do that, he's gonna pull a super laser tech and use it to ramp and draw a card at the beginning of his next turn, and then he's going to be getting to some space units that we don't have an answer for.
And against this is any of the if you know they're going to sack something and you have a pillage in hand and they only have 1 card, but they're probably going to sack their unit, just hold on to the pillage, pass, or maybe not pass, but do some other action, let them sack, draw that card, then you pillage them, right? But a lot of the times, I also ping a super laser tech because I don't want them to sack it and draw a card. You just have you have to just make them top deck and fight with their top. And sometimes they're just gonna, here's a Vader, all right, here's a Maul, all right, here's OB, and you're just okay, and then all your removals, all your units are good 1-for-1s, and then eventually they get to a point where That's your only unit on board. Sure, flip, seal it, and you're like, oh, okay, GG.
Okay, how about villain green blue? Kira.
I like that one a
Hondo.
lot more.
That matchup for me is easy. Hondo is actually way more difficult than, like, let's say Kira green blue. Like any green blue villainy, unless they're playing a super greedy version, I feel very, very comfortable into that matchup because they don't have as much ramp. They have more cards that are like diluting what they're doing, and we don't care that they 1-for-1 us. We have a lot of value, a lot of big end stuff. But Hondo is like, shout out to George for bringing Hondo to light.
And there will be a Hondo masterclass.
Good.
We need to we need to find somebody else that plays it, but we'll have it.
The deck is very, very good. I think we are kind of on the upside that we've gotten to play against George so much that we got to really learn what Hondo can do. But they just have so many options.
So what's the game plan at Hondo?
Honestly, that matchup 9 times out of 10 goes to milling. Like that's why we have the vigilance back. Like when I go against that deck, it generally goes because he smuggles so much. He's getting so many cards out of his deck that it honestly ends up going to mill because their units that come out are very big and it's hard for us to answer constant big stuff.
I had several mill victories with Chirrut against villain blue red.
Yeah.
It just happened because that's what you could do. So, no, it's interesting. And you're right. I hadn't thought about that. Is that he's getting through his cards, and that actually is that what happened in the match with Wu? I think it actually might have been that he ended up.
Yeah, he got milled. I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
There was the match before and one. Either way, but like some of the other mono colors, like mono blue Iden or Ray, like those you shouldn't have a problem with. You just make them discard their hand and you're good.
Yep.
No, they don't have the card draw to come back.
See, and against Hondo, that doesn't really work.
Yeah, because they
smuggle so much. He's got a giant hand.
So most of the time, I just end up resourcing my discard stuff because it's just you just want to try and go for damage and then as much 2-for-1s.
Yeah.
Like hope you have board state and like kill him.
Do you guys pillage Bobiel?
Most of the time, I'd prefer to build. Like I'd much rather play Kanan.
Yeah, I generally
pillage.
resource it. Again, that comes down to like Bodhi. We don't want them to be able to get any value off things like Bodhi. And if I draw it late, I'd rather just have a body on board, especially because that matchup is like it's very go late, and you just want to make sure you have the board presence so they can't overrun you.
Like your first action, because you should always have initiative against Boba Yellow. His first action, swing into something, kill. Right? Let them do like cunning, tap, buff, and then you like remove that unit. That's the plan.
All right.
Yeah, if you get to do that, it's huge.
What's the mirror? What's your thoughts on that?
That mirror is kind of weird. It's like first to play crate, who gets to Luke the other Luke, who it's a little like I got to kill your Han on resource 6, so that means I can play my Luke before you play your Luke, and then now you can't Luke my Luke next turn, and then it's really awkward.
And there's a danger to deploying Han generally, right? So the turn he dies, the turn he dies, he can't ramp.
Yeah.
Which is
I 100% prefer Han to be dead.
Yes.
Than alive. Like if you can swing him into a buffed Kira and have him die, right? Like swing a Cassian into a 4/4 Kira, Cassian becomes a 3/1, and then swing your leader Han into it. Yeah. Like you want Han dead. You don't want him
right.
Even though he's got more stats, let him die.
Because killing the Han on 6, might prevent the Luke from coming down.
Yeah.
Yep. That's very
you care very much about the activation.
Yep. All right, so we're kind of all over the place in the order we talked about them. But I think we talked about the decks. What about villain green red? Whether it's boss,
surprisingly, I've not. So boss is kind of weird because a lot of the times if they have an initiative, they'll pass. And obviously, if they pass, they want to put a bounty upgrade on one of your units. Just claim, sure, whatever, claim. And then turn 2, I'll just even pass. Let them play something, and then I'll play a unit.
Play early units. We like to have an answer for the boss flip. We can kill boss when he flips, then we'll start playing units.
Yep. And then a lot of the times, you're like turn 2, you can play a unit, or like if you have we run disabling Fang Fighters, and if they pass, if you have disabling Fang Fighter, you can just nullify their turn 1 play. That always feels good. We got answers, but a lot of the times boss they just want to ramp into crate Vaders and Mauls. You just don't let that happen, you could as long as they're not playing you just pass pass and claim the first couple turns.
Right. And, I think that deck in particular, it's about avoiding like double price for your head. I mean,
Yeah.
because Voska's alive, I mean, that's when he's going to get you.
Yeah, if they
Yeah.
get to ramp and then like double price on your head trigger, and now they're 3 resources ahead, it's not fun. It's like
No.
Palpatine. It's not good.
All right.
Mhm.
So that is the, current meta. So you guys, your team, or at least the core group of you, went 100% on large event playmats. What do you have
I
for
was there.
what? Well, I mean, you're there.
I tried. I
I tried my best. man.
I'll meet you at Galactics, Tibbits. But
Yeah, for sure.
so what's your advice for somebody getting ready for a tournament, though? I mean, you've all probably answered this question once before, but
I'll answer because I haven't talked a lot. Let those guys rest a little bit. So step 1 is to learn the meta, and for me, it's content consumption. Watch everything Loopy's putting out. Watch everything the K2OD guys is putting out. Tower Number 9 does stuff. Ryan Rebel Resource. There's others I know that I'm not mentioning right now. Consume content. Watch, and study. Step 2 is to find that play group of people that you can test with that are better than you, preferably, but at least good players that you can work on your decks, and then just jam that gauntlet. If you can't beat Yellow Boba because of the meta, your deck isn't ready if it can't beat Yellow Boba.
and if you can't beat Yellow Boba, watch somebody who beats Yellow Boba beat it with your deck.
Yeah.
I agree.
I will say that's one of the biggest things too, is honestly surround yourself with people that beat you a lot. And I say this because like I was pretty good like when I first started Star Wars. Like I like card games, so naturally like I'm okay. And I did well. But then I met Tibbits, and we met on the main Star Wars Unlimited Discord, and he was on Chirrut. Like the guy never played anything else. But I think I don't know. We played hundreds of matches, and I went through every deck I could think of, and I just could never beat him. And it didn't even matter. He would play the deck I played and beat me with it. Like, so overall, he was just a better, more skilled player. But that drove me to like the level I'm at now, where I can pretty much go like 50-50 with Tibbits, even with our own deck. Like I'm getting like that was honestly my biggest push for me becoming better, was playing these people that beat me day in and day out.
He also watched me a lot.
I did.
And I would test him like, hey, what would you resource here? What would you do?
And
Okay, this is what I would do.
Yep, and I really like that too, about variety of discords. I mean, yours, ours, KTOD's. I mean, watching Wu play Corno on Kira and Green Sabine is going to be more helpful than sometimes even playing games yourself.
Yeah, because you can study, and then you can ask them after too. You'd be like,
The thought
'cause I'd ask
process.
him, it's like, why did you do that? And he was like, well, because XYZ. That's why.
And I'm aware of one content creator that still does a live stream on Saturday nights where you can
Who would
interact
that be?
live with the ones.
Who would
when they
that
came
be?
in. Well, we're gonna have to have
Wait,
we're gonna have. I tell you what, I think Bothan Network should be on the schedule. So we'll talk about that maybe after we wrap up
Yeah.
here. All right. So final words. Why don't you take us home one at a time? We'll start with you, Sin. Help the Han Blue player succeed.
First and foremost, when you pick up this deck and you don't perform well with it, just keep playing the deck. It doesn't look hard at face value, and some of the choices of cards we have in the deck don't make sense to a lot of people that don't play the deck. It was very much like when I tried playing Chirrut, I gave up on it because I couldn't play it, because I thought this should be easy. It's not. This deck is just the same way. Your resourcing matters. The decisions you make matter. Think about your matchups, what you need to have answers to, and just grind the deck until you get it if you really want to play it.
Tibbits.
Sort of when he said, like, obviously I have like 200 games on Carabas, and I've probably jammed 1,000 games against these guys on TTS. And eventually you just like something clicked and you see those lines and you just look for those lines in the games, and then most of the time it'll work out in your favor. So you just have to keep at it. Like, I know some people have picked up the deck and they're like, man, I'm struggling into this. What do I do? You just gotta play it, man. You just look at it or watch somebody play it and then see what they do and ask.
There's an answer in there for just about everything. I mean, it's still
quite literally. I play on Carabas and like people are like, man, how the fuck do you always have it? And Probably it's just what the deck does.
The
No,
deck has an
I didn't resource it, so that's
Yeah.
the first answer.
Sometimes you can still even resource it, like Chewbacca.
And
You
then
know?
tech it out.
Yeah, or no, just smuggle it out because it costs 9
Yeah,
to
Frank.
smuggle.
Yeah, I'll end with Uncle Frank, Mr. Miyagi. So it took me about 6 weeks of playing against the deck and with the deck before I was even to begin. And I think what finally clicked for me, Dylan explained it this way: is like try playing it as a hard control deck. Like think of it as this is Hero's closest version. It's a soft control, but it's as close as we have to a control deck in Hero. And so here's a little drill for you guys at home when you're trying to learn this deck. Don't let yourself attack their base until you have a 7 or higher cost unit on the board. If you wait that late in practice, I'm not saying do this on Carabast. In practice, make yourself wait. Now I'll start attacking the base. Game's over. I've got this. Don't think of this deck as anything other than a late game control deck, and it'll accelerate your progress and how fast you learn to actually really play the deck in a hard matchup.
And taken from a converted aggro player himself.
Mhm.
Yeah, good stuff.
I've converted them, changed them.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I mean, I think this was excellent stuff, from the deck building conversation to the piloting. And I hope that everybody that's watching this enjoyed this as much as I do. And look forward to hearing about success on Han Blue, because I think it's a cool deck. I love it.
It's definitely I think it's like top 3, top 5 decks currently in the meta
I agree.
in terms of power. If you're looking for something,
pilot.
yeah,
Yeah,
if
you
you're
gotta-
looking for something into a wide field, like this deck does
Yeah.
good.
But you got to put the work in to learn it. It's a hard deck to play.
And bring some Sabines to beat up on the Palpatines, so you don't have to deal with them in the top cut.
Yeah, somebody
Yeah,
else.
that's another thing to note, by the way. Is like most top tournaments, they're going to lose to the Sabines. So you shouldn't
Maybe.
see them in the top tables. Hopefully,
If you're doing a
if you
master
do,
class,
you can still beat them.
His blue palp. It
You
doesn't
can
lose-
still
it doesn't
beat them,
lose
but
aggro.
it's rough.
All right.
And I just want to shout out to Loopy. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, dude.
It's a
You're the
pleasure
best.
being on
We had
here.
such a good time hanging out with you and your beautiful wife at Gencon. That was so awesome, dude.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming out.
It's a pleasure to meet all you guys, and
Definitely, man.
and if you want to hang out with all of us, join us on the Bothan Network Discord and Late Night Gaming too. Both
Late night
entirely
gaming.
free. All right.
Yep.
If you watch this far, you're my hero. Later.
Da-da-da.
Peace.